All right, we're back for another episode of the Rehashables. One of our favorite shows just wrapped up a couple nights ago, The Boys. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to break down the finale, the last season, the kind of probably the series overall. But I've been looking forward to doing this one with you for a while, bud. You fired up or what?
Absolutely fired up. Both of us were up between 5 a.m. and 5:30 yesterday morning because they have a 3 a.m. release, which it doesn't make any sense whatsoever with that.
Why wouldn't you do 9 o'clock Eastern time or 10 o'clock Eastern time like most other shows of this caliber and just get some hype built around it? The fact that I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to watch is just kind of funny.
And I feel like if we did not, I could not have to look at my phone all day because it was like spoilers galore. But it was worth every second with that early alarm clock. Have so much fun with this show. 5 seasons over the course of 7 years. One of the more funny shows on TV. One of the best superhero things that's been produced. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to talking about it with you.
I've been talking to some people about the show over the past couple days, kind of been like, hey, have you ever watched The Boys? And they were kind of like, I was into it for a season, then kind of got out, or no, it didn't look like it was for me. And I was trying to sell them on it, but then I was thinking, like, honestly, the writers of this show are freaking sickos. You know, like some of the stuff they come up with, just gross stuff, gory stuff, just like cross the line kind of things. It really is a unique show, and it's definitely not for everyone.
It's unique, and we've had this conversation before, like, what does it say about us that we recommend this show? You know what I mean? So much. But, like, and there's only a handful of people in my life that have watched it, but those people get it. Like, it's, like, crazy crude and over the top, but it's probably also one of the more smart shows, like, written on TV. Like, what it's saying, how they develop the characters, the biggest, like, you know, holding a mirror up to society. It's all of those things. It's not like a sophomoric show by any means. Yes, it has all that stuff, but, like, I feel like it obviously has a huge following. People really should be paying attention to something like this. But it is a very tough sell. It is a tough sell.
Yeah. It's definitely not for everyone. So this is season 5, and it's been like what, a year and a half between seasons, 2.5 years between seasons, at least the past few.
I think at least a year and a half, maybe 2, because I think it was for the last 2 years between season 3 and season 5. I think it was 2 years because Gen V was the alternate in between.
But it wasn't, I don't know, the social commentary piece, if I remember correctly, didn't really kick in the first season, or maybe even the second, but I know, like, at some point along the way, it really did start to comment on society and made some equations between some of the main characters and things that are going on today, and I thought it did a really nice job with that in the last season, the last 2 seasons particularly.
I mean, they were like clear cut, like literally things taken from real life stuff that they did and satirized. I think the first few seasons were mostly making fun of like superhero culture in general, and it is good because we see all of, like, these, you know, we are big DC, big Marvel fans and all this kind of stuff, and superheroes always to save the day. But there are, you know, very few things, you know, Watchmen, The Boys, that's like, not everyone that has this power would do it for good. You know what I mean? And who would hold those people in check? You know what I mean? If you had Superman with terrible intentions and a, you know, God complex and extremely insecure, what would you get? Well, you would get, you know, Homelander. You know, that they definitely made a shift, but it hit the time, I think, when superhero stuff was at its peak, and that was the satire.
Yeah, for sure. So we have our normal categories that we're going to run through. You know, I think we have 10, 12 of them. Going to be fun to go through each one of those. But before, I think we just kind of want to dig in on your general thoughts on the series finale, maybe the final season in general, before we get into those specific categories. You up for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we haven't talked about this at all. Like,
no, we
talked on the phone earlier today. We texted to say that we both watched it, but like then it's just like freaking Vought. Didn't talk about it at all. So what do you think? Start with the finale. Like, what do you think of the finale, I guess, and then pivot any way you want from there.
I really liked the finale a lot. I would say I loved the finale. I would not put it up there with Stranger Things earlier this year, which, again, crazy. I see so much, like, people are like, oh, better than, like, Stranger Things so decisive. I loved Stranger Things finale, and I will die on that cliff. I don't think it was quite there at that point, but I thought how they wrapped everything up was awesome. Was really great, extremely satisfying. There were some highs in this that would be some of the biggest highs of any series finale show that I've seen. It tied up some storylines. as a season as a whole wasn't perfect, but it was still appointment television, and I loved watching it every time. There was only one thing that kind of disappointed me throughout the season and the finale. Overall, though, I loved it. What about you?
I say I'd be a step below loving it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Had some problems with it. End of the day, this show became very much about what's going to happen with Homelander. You know, that was always the thing for me. Like, Homelander seemed like an unstoppable force. Like, how could they possibly take this guy out? Obviously, knew it was going to happen at some point. I do like the way that wrapped up. Like, I actually very much enjoyed that scene and what his end was, and we'll kind of get all into that. So I thought they did a nice job with that. Some of the other stuff, it just didn't hit home for me as much. And we'll talk about previous episodes too. I would have liked more emotional connection to things happening. Like some of the more what I perceive would be like emotional moments just didn't like hit for me. Like I didn't have any like chills or like, you know, some of the dude watching Stranger Things, like to equate back to that was like a chills, like wow, they're doing this. Like this is, you know, maybe a little bit of like watery eyes if you want to go that far. Like it's a different kind of show, so it's hard to think that it would hit in that level, but I think great shows do have those moments. And this one personally lacked a little for me. I'd be interested to see if some of the moments in the last season hit that way for you. But so minus that, that's fine. Really like the Homelander stuff and where they wrapped up, and then how they wrapped up some of the stories, and maybe not so much some of the others, which we'll get to.
I completely agree. So we can dive into the categories because there are some parts of this show that will stick with culture. You know, one thing in particular. And these performances, some of them, like, I think are just incredible. So we can dive into that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a freaking great show. Like,
it's a great show.
It's an awesome show. Like, there are very few wake up in the morning to watch finale shows. You know what I mean? Like, freaking Severance, this, Stranger Things. You know, like, there's a handful of shows per year that I would do this for, and this is definitely one of them. So I'm fired up to be doing this.
And in the pantheon of that, real quick, just touch on that, like, The Boys is popular. Like, people like The Boys, but it doesn't have a Stranger Things budget. Probably doesn't even have a Severance budget. You know what I mean? Like, so the creator, he came out and kind of have said that, you know what, they didn't have the budget to do, like, a huge battle, like, Avengers-style battle scene, which would have been freaking awesome.
It was smaller scenes. Like, there wasn't big people, destruction. Like, I mean, we'll get to it, but I didn't hear those quotes, but I can actually appreciate that because everything seemed like a smaller scale with like less people involved in different scenes as opposed to some like grand things that could have happened, probably should have happened.
And like you wanted a longer runtime, I think, for the finale, and like Amazon said no. You know what I mean? It was still the longest episode of the series at 65 minutes, but like so there's certain things, and we can get into some of the categories that had their kind of restraints. But good for them, man. I'm extremely satisfied with everything. So,
all right, you want to jump into the categories?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, first one, the Jack Bauer Award. This is going to be for the most intense sequence. And there's some, you know, we can have some wiggle room on that. I want to hear what you think. What do we get for honorable mentions for you?
There's some intense moments, and one of my honorable mentions was Firecracker's death scene.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure when Firecracker died, there are a few times through this series, and we'll get into Homelander. I like genuinely think Homelander is the most terrifying villain of any villain in TV history. He's been so many times where he's on screen where you're like, I don't know what he is going to do. He could just kill this person in an instant because he can. You know what I mean? And he had many times, he had that in the first season with Madeline when he killed her at the end of the finale. And that was like a holy shit moment. The scene on the roof, I think in season 2, where they were staging this girl who's going to jump off the roof. I don't know if you remember this or not. And Homeland was like, jump. No, you're. The whole thing was he was going to come in and save her. But he like told her, forced her to jump, and she jumped to her death. You know what I mean? Like, he killed many people along the way. And that Firecracker scene, a person that blew up her entire life for devotion for him, like ruined everything for him. Like, his number one follower still wasn't good enough, and he still kind of killed her. And that conversation that he has with her, the intensity just keeps building and building and building, and you don't know where it's gonna go. So that's why I picked that one, because I thought it was such an intense scene.
Yeah. Firecracker's a sad character, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like,
Totally.
and we can get to. I guess we'll get to her, but yeah, no, that any moment with Homelander is an intense. You know, so just like name the 30 scenes with him and his interactions with people. I mean, talk about the scene with the president. It's you know, when he kills the president. It's like the president's there, Ashley's there, and Homelander, who's at the, you know, sitting at the Resolute desk, and you know, he comes up with these wacky list of things that he wants the president to do, and the president's like, great idea. And Homelander goes to Ashley like, what does he really think? You know, and the little thing in the back of her head, and he's like, he's petrified of you, and you know, then he just freaking blows up his head or whatever. You know, like he's so unpredictable, but at the same time kind of predictable, because you know he's just gonna basically kill people on a whim. So anything Homelander is intense.
Yeah, so I put that one on there. That was one, I only have a few of these because it kind of jumps on some other awards. What about you? What do you got?
On like a much lower level, honorable mention wise, just like there was a time when Soldier Boy had a chance to not give Homelander the, was it V1? Is that what it was?
Yeah, the V1. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And Butcher, who's it? Butcher, Huey, or Milk were hiding, and they're like, Sage was there, and it's like that was all part of the plan. And it's like that was a moment that could have went another way, and it was just like tense, because as soon as he gave it to him, I think Butcher yelled like "run," and it was just like, oh shit, like this is bad, this was unplanned, and that things were gonna go sideways from there.
Yeah, absolutely, great scene. Another one, intense in like a different way. So there's no other category for me to put this in, so I had to put it in this one because I thought it was kind of funny, but the intensity in some certain way. The scene with the celebrities when all of them died.
I was thinking about that, how we were gonna fit that in there, and I'm glad you brought it up because it's definitely not intense, but what a great freaking scene. So we got Seth Rogen, we got freaking McLovin, we have
Will Forte.
Najari, or how do you say his name?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't pronounce his name either.
You know what I'm talking about. And I actually don't know the fourth guy. And I don't know the guy who played the fast guy. But like, it was just. Oh, yeah. Well, he was there too. And it was just funny. It was like kind of just making fun of the celebrity lifestyle a little bit. And just, it was how these guys like hated Homelander and kind of had to kiss up to him.
And Seth Rogen's an executive producer of this show. You know what I mean? So he's very involved in the making of it. It's his second appearance in the series. I just thought it was funny how they all died, and they all died because of Marathon Man, who's like A-Train Light, was running around, and Soldier Boy just kept pushing them in front of Marathon Man, and they would explode and stuff.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. So I just thought that was like an intense, funny scene, and that was the scene from an intense standpoint where Soldier Boy said that very straight, very with a heavy accent. Soldier Boy, yeah, he started doing his 180 on Homelander. You know what I mean? They had a chance between Marathon Man and the mouth gas guy. They made Homelander pass out, and they had a chance to like kill him or get rid of him. And Soldier Boy kind of thought, you know, it was his son, and that was when he kind of did his 180 on him.
Which I don't fully understand myself. Like, it's a little bit of a leap for me that he would have pulled the 180 on, because he hated him.
He thought he was
obviously the weirdest.
Yeah. But
okay, I think he said he despised them, that, you know, he did not like him. And they didn't necessarily sell me on why he would have had that reversal.
Yeah. We can kind of talk about that later. I know we have the biggest mysteries or questions, which I kind of sometimes turn into like a picking nits category too. But like,
there are definitely some. I would like to pick some because there's some fun ones to discuss.
Yeah. So that one.
Okay. So do you want to just go to like what I would consider the most intense sequence?
Yes.
Actually, I have one more thing.
Go for it.
Okay. So it's the scene when they are, God, man, I'm not going to properly be able to describe it, but it's the scene where they almost have like the focus group that watched the video in the theater, and the freaking psychics are what?
The first time. Not the end. The first.
Not the end. Not the end. The first time, I think they showed a video of Homelander, like a freaking ridiculous. Because the whole thing is that Homelander, like Jesus gives him the freaking crown.
The special effects weren't done yet.
I mean, what a ridiculous. I mean, it's awesome. Like the whole story is Homelander has a vision and that he's to be God and the church and all that stuff. Anyways, so they show this video with Jesus giving his crown of thorns to Homelander, and these psychics are like reading the crowd and determining who the real believers are. And I thought it was tense because they just like they had the cat girl and the wolf guy like attack the people that aren't, you know, they let certain people go and then leave people in the room. And that's a tense moment because you have all these people that are probably trying to put on this facade of like, you know, oh, this is great. And meanwhile, like, you know, they're reading their minds and know they think it's bullshit and now they're going to kill him.
One of the women was like raised her hand, was like, oh my, like Homelander was like, I believe, you know what I mean, all that, and she was the one of the ones that got like called out.
So that was like tense, anything like that, and it just kind of goes back to anything Homelander is tense, and that part I couldn't imagine being in that room watching this video. You're gonna be like, you have got to be kidding me that this is a real thing.
There were a lot of people that did believe, you know what I mean, and then did make it out of that room.
I mean, if you want to like, I don't want to get into it too much, but it's like it just like. The things that people can convince themselves of, you know, like that stuff's ridiculous, but I think it happens every day where people are freaking, you know, doing mental gymnastics to, you know,
justify,
to like be on board with different things that happen in this crazy world.
Yeah, 100%. So that's that. I think we would have one. I mean, I don't know if we would have.
You have more honorable mention?
No, just one more. The most intense sequence of the show. I feel like.
Why don't you go?
Do you have anything else though? Do you have one more thing, or is this just one more?
No, I have what I would say is my most intense sequence.
Is it the ending?
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know that it was most intense, but it was actually like the Homelander, Ryan, and Butcher fight in the Oval Office or whatever room. Was it the Oval Office?
Yes, it was the Oval Office. Yeah.
Like that for me was great. You know, like it was a great fight scene. Butcher got to use his powers. Ryan, Homelander, he was trying to get away. Great action with a great ending. So, what did you like about it?
It was awesome. Yeah. Was it perfect? Like leading into that, you know what I mean? There was some maybe we can get into like leading into that, and I'll put that under like questions and that sort of thing too. But the actual fight scene in the Oval Office and like, is this plan going to work? Again, take away like the whole plan and how they got there and all that sort of stuff. But
just walk into the White House. No big deal. Just right into the White House.
And don't worry, oh brother or whatever. Like we see him coming, so we're gonna just shoot them. Shoot these superheroes where bullets can't hurt them at all, and we're gonna just lock them into a room and shoot them. But whatever, that's another. But
thing. They made it, and when they made it, that was a great fight scene.
A showdown between Butcher and Homelander, and that was just going to be it with Kamiko getting ready to do her thing. But like it was. Those two actors carry this show, obviously. Yeah. And that fight sequence between them was awesome. And Homelander, like he always freaking does because he's such a coward, whenever things get tough, he can fly away. And when Ryan came in and knocked him down and prevented him from flying away, I thought that was awesome. And how they did it was like very realistic. Like I thought the fight like looked very realistic in a sense of like Homelander really couldn't get away. Like he kept trying to fly away, or Butcher would get him with
trying to get away, and they kept pulling him in. And I think it's hard for Homelander to be in a fight like that because Homelander is so powerful that you almost would expect him to be able to get out of any situation. And the laser eye stuff, but like they were able to do it in a way that I thought was good, and doing it like on the 2 kind of 3-on-1 scenario was great. And Kimiko, am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Kimiko. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did enjoy her power. I didn't enjoy how they executed on that because she was struggling to use it, like not being able to get the rage that she thought she needed in order to like generate this burst that would remove any superhero's powers. And that at the end, when it came down to it, it was more like love that inspired her to do it instead of the rage. So it was just kind of like a nice little payoff to what was going on a little bit earlier in the episode. And when they took away Homelander's power, I just thought it was the best thing ever. I just thought it was great.
Do you want to talk? Is that the time to talk about this? Like that part?
I mean, I think so. You know what I mean? The fight was good, but like I think it makes sense. Like the whole sequence was part of it. I mean, at that point, the action's over, but like it was fantastic after that point.
So now we have to talk about Antony Starr. Antony Starr's performance with Homelander without powers was gonna go down like one of my favorite 3-minute performances in the history.
His voice,
his body demeanor, his voice was unbelievable. How high pitched and whiny it was, incredible. Like him doing like the eye thing, like with the lasers, and him trying to fly away. Like that's exactly what it could have been. Goofy. It could have been dumb, and it wasn't. That's exactly what Homelander would have done. It was so well done.
I picture that's what he talks like regularly.
I don't think he's American. Believe
It's
it or
his
not.
real, that's his real persona, I think.
Yeah,
But
but
it was, I'm not going to repeat some of the stuff that he said because I just, but like the lines he said, it was pathetic. He was borderline begging. He sounded ridiculous, and it was again, like you said, what you'd expect from someone like him who was a totally different person as Homelander, but without his powers, just totally different guy. And
it shows he was nothing without his powers. Absolutely nothing. He had no character. He was like the lowest of the low. Take deep and bring it 10 levels lower. Like he was just absolutely pathetic. And even from the point of like when he like went to punch Butcher and Butcher just caught it. Just to show like literally like as just a man how weak he was.
because Butcher didn't have powers at
Butcher
that
didn't have
point.
powers either. He was human.
Butcher,
but just-
Ryan, Homelander all lost their powers in that blast.
Yeah.
So
when that happened, and then how Butcher killed Homelander, like I thought they did a really good job of when he said with the crowbar at the end, he was like, "This is for my Becca," and you could see like the tears in his eyes, and like this guy finally won, and Homelander was exposed, and it was so. I watched that scene probably half a dozen times in the last 24 hours. It was so well done.
One could forget a little bit about that Becca scenario, and that was such a big part of those first two seasons. Like that was Becca's love. I mean, Butcher's love, Becca, and Homelander raped her, and they had a kid who was Ryan together, and that was like a big part of those first couple seasons. And then over the season 3 and 4, and then what we had seen of 5, like Butcher turned into a different person, a guy that you could sympathize with less. But then, when he says that line at the end, you kind of remember that, like, this is what was actually motivating all these bad decisions that he's made throughout the course of the second half of the series. And it was great to see him get his revenge on that.
So that best scene of the series, I mean, there's some things, and it was so, the build up to it was so worth it. And Antony Starr, man, I'm telling you, that guy just deserves everything. He probably won't get nominated for anything because that's just how it goes. But his whole portrayal of Homelander is just incredible. We can dive into the next category.
We'll get to him, man. We have more to say about him. Last thing I'll say about the scene is I do love how like they had it videotaped and they were putting it out there to people. Everyone got a chance to see it happen. So it was definitive for the population, and I think it allowed people to kind of move on from that scenario pretty quickly. So, anyways, all right, we're on the same page there. Next thing. Desmond Hume Award for Best Character, and I want you to go. What do you got?
I got 3. All right, and one is literally an honorable mention, and I don't know why I put her in here. Starlighter deserves a conversation. You know what I mean? If you really look at her arc from the beginning of the show to like where she is, she's the one that really turned on Homelander first as far as the superhero goes. She kind of started got with the boys for the resistance. She was like the opposing party. There was a Homelander, but then all the other people were called Starlighters. You know what I mean? Yeah. So she was kind of the face of the resistance. Real life actress that played this. I don't know if people know this because she had some very, very major health issues during the last few seasons that really, I think, prevented her from filming and doing some certain things and stuff too. So, still pushed through it and had a really, really did a great job. So I wanted to put her in there. Is she the best character? Of course not. But like I had to put her in there.
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously an important character. I didn't love her in the last season, but hey, I understand why you put there. She is like the opposing force, and she has an important role to play. I have 2, and then I have 2 honorable mentions. And my first one is Huey, and I don't know if Huey's a guy for you. He might not be, but just the series opened up with him and him and his girlfriend. And she died because A Train ran through her, kind of blew her up, and he went on to do all kinds of crazy stuff, and obviously had a very integral role with the boys. But when I think of the main characters, I actually think of him for some reason. I don't know if that's probably not the what.
Probably.
What do you mean?
As far, like the third main character, would you say?
Well, there's two.
Yeah.
main guys, but I almost think of him as like the normal person, like everything's kind of viewed through him. You know, like I think of him as very important. I think he's a great character. I would put him as the third person on my list with a pretty clear who the top two are.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned him because he's the humanity of the show.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean. He's the Butcher before Butcher got like changed. You know what I mean? Like, well, actually, probably never was Butcher, but he's like he shows Butcher the humanity of it. He's always the voice of reason. They're like, no, we can't use the virus and kill every single soup. That's like crazy. And yeah, and he started the show and he ended the show. The final shot is of his face. You know what I mean? So he deserves to be in that conversation for sure.
What do you got? What else? Who's your other honorable mention?
Number 2 for me is Butcher. I'm not sure if it's same for you or not, but
it is Butcher for me.
He's one of the obviously the people you think of. Carl Urban, who plays him, just did an incredible job. So many quotable lines from him. When anyone that talks about this show or writes about it, they always say "oi" and he, always uses his language. A really good arc for him. Not a good person, obviously, with a lot of the stuff he did. He tried. I mean, he seemed to try many times, but he did a really good job, and I've enjoyed Butcher.
Yeah, I think he's definitely like the number 2 person in the show. I mean, he has a great arc. I think you already said that. Like, I think that he has one of the better arcs in the show. And what do you think about him dying at the end?
I thought it was great and needed to happen. I think it had absolutely. And how it happened, so the only issue I have with him is just he's very like seesawy. Like he goes like from one extreme. Like I'm still maybe other like questions, but like I'm still not positive why he killed Newman and like why that happened and then why Huey and then like forgave it. He did a lot of shitty things and then he would go back, but then he would have a soft side and then he would go back and want to be the extreme. You know what I mean? So he very much went back and forth. And that was my only issue with that character was like they forgiving this guy a lot, you know what I mean? And he did some very, very bad things.
Even just a couple episodes ago, you were like, all right, this has got to be it for them.
Yeah.
But it never really is.
No, never. Because then he always has that, like the scene with Huey and him in the conference room with the psychic when they have him captured and stuff. And like his vulnerability is like, don't hurt Huey. You know what I mean? And like, so he has that soft side. But I thought the end of season 4, after he killed Newman and was driving, I thought he was gonna go crazy. But then like season 5 kind of picked up like just as if nothing happened.
You know, it was a strange relationship, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, he was driving away, and you're thinking he's going rogue, and what the heck's going to happen? But yeah, it kind of picked up, and things are more normal than I would have expected.
Yeah. And you know this, but speaking of Newman, Jack Quaid and her married in real life.
I didn't know that.
What? You didn't?
No, I knew that.
Yeah. You did. Yeah. So good for that.
She's a great character. I actually thought she was always going to have a very important role to play in this show.
Me too.
I was surprised when she died.
Me too.
Me too. Okay, so dude, best character. We already talked about Homelander a million times. I assume that's who it is for you. Are you going to pick freaking Gadip or what?
No, Homelander, 100%. I mean, I'm not adding much more to say, but he's like an all-time TV character, not just the best character on the show. Like he is argued like you could make the best villain case, like better than the Night King, better than Vecna, better than like the levels, the layers he brings to that character is so complex.
As you said, those two people, I think he's clearly better than them. I'm trying to think of someone that might even be on his level. And I don't know that I'll be able to come up with it on the podcast, but he is truly an all-time TV villain. So, freaking great character. That's the end of the run for him. I don't know if there's other.
Just like one thing too. This like been real. Remember, I'm not making excuses. He's obviously a piece of shit and did terrible things. But he was like basically grew up in a lab, had no parents, was never shown love, never shown empathy, was poked and prodded. His like whole thing of making him was to make him the most powerful soup in the world. And remember last season, you found out what some of the scientists did to him was just absolutely horrendous. And like, who could have that upbringing and not, you know what I mean? Like, it's a tough way to like not justify him, obviously, but he brought those layers. And he was even though he was the most powerful being on the planet, he was so insecure and so vulnerable. And I thought how Antony Starr played that was just incredible.
Does Antony Starr end up in anything ever again, or is he like the classic guy that can only ever be seen by people as Homelander?
the one thing that helps him is like he doesn't have blonde hair, you know what I mean, and he's normally
Yeah.
not clean shaving, so he definitely could possibly be like in real life he really doesn't look like Homelander at all. Whereas like what?
I mean, like, he obviously looks like him, but I mean,
Well,
he's like,
you've always seen him on talk shows and stuff like.
Yeah,
But he's
yeah.
got short, dark hair. He's got a scruffy beard. He wears glasses. You know what I mean? So anyway, I don't know if he'll be in anything else, but I don't think you people will maybe see him as Homelander because it's not. I don't think it has much of an audience as like Stranger Things with like the boys. You know, with like the 4 kids.
it'll be interesting to see how his career evolves. But
Yeah,
all timer, he's the man.
yeah. Awesome.
Do you anything else to say? We'll move on to the next category.
We can go into the characters that deserve their own spinoff. Yep,
That would be the Saul Goodman Ward, my man. Who is the character that deserves their own spinoff?
I get 2 of these. One of them is really good. And it's not the winner, but winner deserves her own spinoff? The legend. Paul Reiser's character. You know what I'm talking about?
He's got some stories to tell.
I love to watch a season of television of that guy and his adventures back in the day. I thought, you know, on the Rewatchables they have the what's the character that comes in and like only the basketball player that only plays like 10 minutes a game. The heat check award or whatever.
Yeah.
But like he came for 1 episode and I'm like, this guy's incredible. I thought he was so good. So anyway, I would love to see a spin-off of him.
That is a great call by him. I didn't even think of him. I actually kind of struggle with this, to be honest with you, because I just really only think about the superheroes.
Yeah.
You know, as people, he's a great character to think of. For me, I don't even think this is a good one, but like for me, like I could see a spinoff with Sage, but more like a prequel one where she could have done some pretty cool shit. Some people seem to like her. I didn't love the way things ended for her, but I mean, maybe there's a world where there's some stuff going on the side for her.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I can get on board with that.
Who do you get for a winner, though?
Me, and the thing is that they're having their own spinoff is Soldier Boy. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think Soldier Boy does deserve it. I think that Jensen, I forget his last name, but he's a really good job, really good character. Seems like a piece of shit, doesn't have many redeeming qualities, you know what I mean? A level, you know, maybe below Homelander, because if you remember what he did in season 3, the stuff he did to like Black Noir, and he was pretty bad person. But I'm anxious for Vought Rising, which will be his own prequel, which I also heard could have some time jumps.
I heard that too.
I don't love how his arc ended, just going back in the cryo chamber thing or whatever it is.
I actually think it's stupid.
It was
because he was a pretty important character, so they just left him in a cryo chamber. Like, yeah, I know that there's going to be a spinoff with him in it, but that's a spinoff in the past, unless the time jump piece does pick up like after the fact for him. You know, I'm sure that that's the case, and that's almost like a tongue-in-cheek. You know, who deserves their own spinoff because they obviously have their spinoff. That my joke though, like what I would say is who deserves their own spinoff is freaking Marie Moreau, even though like they already had their freaking spinoff, it's canceled. Gigantic waste of them in the finale and the last season in general. So
you want to do this now? This conversation now?
Let's do it. Yeah.
It was the most disappointing thing of the whole show. I wish they weren't even in it. I wish they weren't even in the final season. I think agree. Very much liked Gen V. I love Gen V. I thought it was a great show.
They were hyping her up to be like this
Homelander killer.
Like someone that could compete with Homelander. And, you know, I read an article that was like, they were definitely underutilized, but you shouldn't have expected her to be in that room fighting Homelander at the end. It's fair enough. You know, this is the boys, and, you know, probably made sense for it to be Butcher and Ryan and Homelander, but like, their role was so minuscule in this last season that it was pointless to even have them in it. And never mind, it was just the 2 of them that were in this season. Never mind, there's a whole bunch of other people from Gen V that should have had something to do. Missed opportunity.
None of them. You don't see any of their powers used one time at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was 3 of them because the girl that shrinks was in the last scene in the finale and stuff too.
Yeah.
Jordan and then Marie, and then I forget the girl who shrinks name. But dude, it was like, what did we do for 2 seasons? And
Totally.
I would have. There's a world where I would have loved an Avengers style ending with like Homelander and like then Butcher and all like the boy characters, but then like Marie coming in and then like Maeve coming back. We can get to that too in a little bit. Like
Dude,
all
they
that
showed Maeve in the previously on, and I'm like,
well,
did she die?
What did you hear? I did read about this though.
Oh.
They approached the actress to come back, and she's retired from acting, and scheduling conflict said no. So
I shouldn't have showed her in the preview.
I think that was to connect Marie's conversation with Starlight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is whatever. You know what I mean? But they should. But Maeve was an awesome character. Like that would have been an awesome moment, and they didn't have the scale to do it. It sounds like, but so disappointing. About like I really liked Marie. I think her character was awesome in Gen V. Literally was the whole thing they were really building her up to be. I felt like they were building her up to be like a Homelander equivalent, and to not do anything. And now the show's canceled. It's like it sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, they were like, "You're one of the most powerful soups besides him." Like they would say that outright. It wasn't implied. It was just like said. And that was very, very strange. But so I mean, usually when we do these type of things, like I have someone that I think is like played a tiny role that would be like your Paul Reiser call, like that. That's actually like the perfect one for this one. But outside of that, it's like I've gotten plenty of the other categories that plenty of the other characters that were featured all season. So I'm good to move on from this one.
Yep, go ahead.
All right, Ozymandias Award for the biggest emotional gut punch, and I have two things, and I don't know how many you have. Do you want to go first?
I have four, but they're all I can be kind of quick with all. Okay. But first, I thought Firecracker's conversation with the pastor, which you kind of brought up, and then kind of going into her going on the news and like crying and like denouncing the pastor and saying like he's a pedophile. I thought that was because that was her point of no return kind of moment, and she knew it, and that I thought that actress did a really, really good job because I felt for Firecracker, but she dug her own grave. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just thought that was a good conversation.
You're not going to believe this, but I actually have that as my number one.
Oh, shit. No way. Okay.
No, don't worry. Are you freaking kidding me? I care less. But like, I mentioned it before, like, this show did not give me many of those emotional moments where I like truly felt something. I did feel for her. You're correct. She dug her own grave, but I did feel for her when she had that conversation, but then had to go on TV and read that script and her eyes watering. And it's like, she's just, she was completely compromised at that point, but like what a position to be in. Like she just it was a sign of what people had been doing, over the series. And it was just, I found it to be an emotional scene, not like a cry emotional scene, but just like I could really put myself and empathize with her in that moment.
He's constantly kept moving the goalposts with, you know what I mean? Like asking more and more out of people. Always, you know what I mean? It always would do that. The Deep is also another like great example of like going back to like one of the most uncomfortable scenes of the whole series was when Homelander forced him to eat the octopus. Remember that? And like and just shows that there's no loyalty reciprocated. He expects you to do these things, and then what does he do? Firecracker gives up everything, kills her still. What does Deep do? Deep is literally his most loyal servant. Says you're pointless, and there's no reason. You know what I mean? So it just would show these people would give up anything and get nothing in return from Homelander. Yeah.
So that's it. That's it for me. Tell me what else you got. You got a couple more. I can share one of mine.
Emotional, like was I crying? No, but like A-Train's death in the first episode, the kind of big moment at the end of the first episode. A-Train's a character that's been in main character for 4 seasons prior to this. Took him 3 seasons. Remember, he was a big piece of shit the first 3 seasons, and then the 4th season he kind of did his arc.
He was always kind of still a piece of shit. He did do some things to help, but he
redeemed himself at the end. Like he saved Huey from Homelander. Was lasering him and moved him out of the way, and then drew Homelander away. So he did save them. You know what I mean? Saved his brother, who was paralyzed kind of because of him. But good, whatever. I wasn't crying, but it was an emotional gut punch, I'd say.
Yeah. So I like how all the soups, the bad soups, did die though. Yeah. One after another. I mean, A-Train, Black Noir, The Deep, Firecracker, like they all got what they kind of deserved, So
yes.
So I'm okay with A-Train's death, but I think it's a good one to put on the list.
Yep.
Because he did probably redeem himself more than the other people that I meant throwing him in with, but still, he's ultimately, in my mind, like he was always a bad guy, and despite doing some good things, like he's still not a great dude.
Yep, absolutely. Do you want me to keep going, or do you want to go?
Yeah, keep going.
Frenchie, I mean, they're just like, they're all deaths. Like Frenchie's death, I thought that was an emotional gut punch. You know what I mean? When
Yeah,
he,
so that would be my honorable mention.
yeah,
I have to say, I'm disappointed it wasn't more of an emotional gut punch for me. Like it wasn't for me. Like I got it. It was good, you know, but like it's not like I'd be like, man, that was an all-time like sacrifice death scene, you know, like I just don't think the show is capable of producing something like that. So I'll put it as my honorable mention, but like I wish I felt more for them in that moment.
so yeah, I agree. So my winner, which I felt like was an emotional gut punch and did hit for me, was I thought Butcher's death. I thought that whole thing was really good, and I know it didn't for you. I thought that was like the way Butcher died, the way Huey, who is 1/10 as tough as Butcher is, stood up to him. You know what I mean? And how Huey was forced to kill him. And then during that moment, Butcher is seeing his older brother, or younger brother, I don't remember, his brother and Huey, and he's finally going to be at peace because he's being tormented. We can get to how Butcher got to that point, which I don't think quite made sense. But yeah, so I thought that was really good. I thought Carl Urban did a really good job acting and dying in that moment, and he had to die, and I thought they did a good job with it. So that was my winner.
I like it. It's a good list. All right. Next up, dude, these podcasts go forever. I know you got an appointment coming up at some point.
I'm fine.
Roman Roy Award, scene stealing character. What do you got? I got an honorable mention and a.
I should have put the legend in this one too because he could have been, but I really liked is it Father or Brother?
Brother.
Oh Brother, or whatever. I think it was Father.
It probably makes more sense than it is Father. Brother's a movie, I think.
Lafayette in Hamilton, or so. Oh, I love that guy. He's known best for Hamilton as Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson. Just a very charismatic guy. And whenever he was on screen, I was just drawn to him. I thought the song and dance sequence at the church was just so funny. Of like Homelander with like the dancing nuns.
Ridiculous.
It was just so funny, and I thought his stuff with Ashley was just very funny. It made me laugh whenever they were on screen, and I liked his power, and I liked how he died, and I just thought he was good every time he was on screen. I enjoyed him. A good addition for the season.
Yeah. I liked him too, so that's a good one. He was kind of borderline for me, but I'm glad you got a chance to bring him up. Okay. Honorable mention. Nothing more needs to be said, but like Homelander does steal every scene that he's in my opinion. So like, yeah, so that goes without saying. I'm just gonna say who my winner is though, and it's a little bit different, and it's the Deep for me.
Yeah,
it's because he really is so pathetic, but he also has some of the best like lines and like no real self-awareness about himself, and I just think he's terrible. He's a terrible, terrible person, but he's like funny, and I think he got exactly what was coming to him. And I thought the way he died was great, and I just thought I thought he stole a lot of the scenes that he was in.
He's great. Can't believe that guy made it to the end. You know, from season 1, he was so dumb. You know what I mean? And he still is, but he made it to the end. He was very irredeemable. I mean, he was just had no moment of being redeemed. But like him when he's talking to like the Vought executive. And he's like, what about, like, I go to Vegas or whatever. He goes to, like, all these beaches. Like, those are all landlocked. Like, you have one thing. You know what I mean? Because you didn't want to go back to the ocean. I thought it was just funny. So, anyway. Yeah.
Anyways, what do you got?
Me, I think Soldier Boy, for me. I think Soldier Boy, right. His, like, one-liners were so funny. And stuff like I think he's just a hilarious character. I think anytime he was on screen, I thought he carried himself with the charisma. So that's why I picked him.
Yeah, he definitely had a lot of charisma. Okay, next thing, Nikki and Paulo Award for storyline we cut. I only got one. What do you got?
I got two, but one we talked about. So me, like Black Noir storyline, like fake noir storyline of like acting and like all that kind of stuff. I guess you had to get there because of the Deep had to kill him and like kind of have this stuff. But in my opinion, I wish when Homelander killed the real Black Noir at the end of season 3, I think it was, which was the best season, I think they should have just ended it there. I don't think fake noir brought anything to the table, and
Yeah.
they could have spent that time doing a lot more things.
I didn't think of that. That's a great one. So that's probably the only new thing, because for me, the only thing that kind of came to mind, I didn't plan to bring it up before, was just like the Gen V people. Just kind
Me
of
too.
get them out.
That's the number one thing. I am so disappointed by that. I feel just really bad for the actors. And they're not saying like the characters aren't gone forever, so I don't know how they're gonna do it, but because there's 2 shows. There's
Yeah,
Vought,
it's not. They said it's not goodbye. It's like see you later or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So I don't know. That means that they're in the universe somewhere, because it's Vought Rising, and then there's the Boys Mexico or something like that.
yeah, exactly. So
And there's probably going to be more stuff. I mean, it's a property that's worth,
I love the
trying.
universe. The universe they built was great. You know what I mean? So anyway, those 2. So
All right, next thing, Dharma Initiative Award, biggest mystery or question, and this is kind of our opportunity for picking nits. What do you got?
I mean, I have a lot of things, but a lot of things we already talked about. I didn't quite get the science behind the uranium in Kimiko, like how they did that, how they got. I just didn't understand that, and that was very rushed. I felt like I think it took an episode of that. The first 5 episodes was all about finding the virus, and then it was like 2 episodes about giving her the power, and like I just didn't understand how that worked. Could you do this because she could re-heal herself? Is that why? I just didn't understand it. Maybe I didn't follow it enough.
Yeah, I hear you on that. For me, like the whole virus thing, I guess kind of picking. It's like I always thought the virus was gonna. They spent a lot of time on the virus.
A lot of time on the virus.
A lot of time on the virus, and it was pretty meaningless. And they did kind of shoehorn her power into things, and that's what ended up working. And I think it's probably a better way, rather than seeing Homelander die by a virus on screen. The way they did it to take away his powers is like a far superior ending. But it is a little bit of a nitpicky thing for me to think that they wasted so much time and deaths on a virus that really just didn't, just whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So I have that one. I have again a bunch of others. Ones we talked about.
You fire away, because I feel like this is a tougher category for me. So keep firing away.
Again, I went back like it doesn't count really, but season 4, like I really don't understand why Butcher killed Newman. Like it really bothers me, like why that happened, and then he got like forgiven and that sort of thing. The Queen Maeve stuff, a lot of people bringing that up. We talked about why, but you gotta remember too, and I forgot about this until I kind of went back and read it. Queen, and this is important, Queen Maeve lost her powers when she tackled Soldier Boy out the window at the end of season 3 because his uranium went off. So Queen Maeve didn't even have her powers anymore. Okay? So like it wouldn't like she could come back and be Queen Maeve. So that's kind of that whole thing.
Yep.
Gen V, we talked about. Soldier Boy, why he went in the thing we talked about. The 2 other ones, adopting Ryan. I don't know if Ryan's of age or whatever, but like never once like stuff like MM and Ryan talk, and like all of a sudden he's the best man at his Bauer neural. At that
weird. I thought the same thing. Like, why do you end up with him? Yeah, I thought Ryan. You knew Ryan was going to play a role in things from when he was very introduced, and I guess the big thing was in the final fight scene, and he had an emotional confrontation with Homelander too. But I would have never guessed in a million years that he would end up with Milk's family.
There was one we were talking most intense scene. The scene where Homelander beat him up. I thought he was going to kill him.
I thought he did kill him.
Exactly.
I think I got confused about what happened, but like, there's time was it pretty clear pretty early that he was not dead?
I don't remember if it was the very, very end. It wasn't the end of the episode. It wasn't. I remember that. It was like came back from commercial or whatever, and it wasn't the end. But that happened. And then the only other thing that was kind of a nitpicky thing is Butcher went from talking with Ryan about like this life they're gonna live and like all this kind of stuff, where then Ryan denying him, to then Terror dying, the dog, to like, what, I'm gonna kill every soup. That he got there pretty fast in like a sequence of like 5 minutes. And I thought I understand why it happened, but like how it got there, how he was able to get in the sprinkler system, and then like whatever, yada yada and stuff.
Yeah. That brings up a good point. But let me just say this about Terror dying. It's just bad timing. It's bad timing to die of just natural causes. It's just, I thought that I was like, well, what's the other shoe to drop on like how he died? And it sounds like he just died. Like just right.
He's old.
Yeah. He's old, and it just happened that it was right after that whole confrontation, right when Butcher needed him the most. Because Ryan turned him down. He's dead. It's like, come on.
But like if a superhero killed him, or like if Homelander got him before, like maybe that would set. But like, why is he now going? You know what? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna kill every soup on the planet because this happened. You know what I mean? So like, I thought that was a stretch.
We talked about a bunch of like my things throughout the whole podcast. The last one I just want to kind of finish on for me was just like, where's all the security at the White House? Do they not need security at the White House anymore? Is there a tunnel that's just like an unguarded tunnel minus this room, and then like Ashley does her thing, runs out, like gets them in? Like it was just too easy of an entrance into the White House.
Oh, father or whatever, like knew they were coming, and then that was the plan. Was his terrible plan? Like they were shooting them with guns, and 75% of the people in the tunnel are bulletproof. You know what I mean? Yep. So like that was a dumb plan. And like going forward, how did the guy that's president now? How the hell did he become president? Was it? I thought he, was imprisoned, and I thought he was. Yeah, there was did election happen?
Question. What?
Did an election happen? It's only been probably 9 months. I mean, she's Starlight's pregnant.
So. No, I don't think there was an election, but it was funny that Ashley was voted out unanimously.
So funny. That was a great, like, she's the first ever to be like impeached unanimously or whatever. Poor Ashley.
Well, I mean, her becoming president is actually ridiculous when you think about was she PR to CEO of Vought, which is ridiculous, to vice president to president. It's like grossly unqualified throughout the whole thing, and she managed to stay alive. And she actually made the right decision at the time. But that was kind of funny for that's how her ending.
So that she did end up doing the right thing. You know what I mean? She ended up doing the right thing and stuff. So anyway,
you can tell she was conflicted for a while, but she had doubt for a long time. But yeah, I mean, she helped that. I did not love her superpower scenario. I just gotta say that.
You just didn't like the way it looked. You didn't like them at all.
Did not like the way it looked. Made me very uncomfortable.
So what was the difference between like her and the psychic? Same thing. You know what I mean?
Same
like,
thing, right?
I guess. And why do all the psychics have to shave their heads? Like, why are all psychics bald?
The hair throws things off.
So, yes, you got to just shave your... Which is maybe... Well, no, because she had a face in the back of her head. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay, gonna move on to the next category.
I mean...
I am the one who knocks award for power move of the season. What do you got?
I mean, Homelander going nuclear and, like, wanting to kill people that didn't believe that he was literally God. I mean, it was an ultimate power move on his thing, I'd say. What else? I mean, I have things we've already talked about a lot, but
yeah, I don't have anything new to add to here. There's a lot of like quick power moves here and there, and like in these interactions, but like I don't have like one thing that sticks out in my mind, to be completely honest with you. So
yeah, I mean, Huey killing Butcher was a power move. You know what I mean? That kind of like good wins bad, and then I think the ultimate power move is Butcher killing Homelander. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess that's it with the, doing what he did to his skull. I mean, I guess that's like the ultimate power move, ultimate revenge. But even Huey killing Butcher to me is just more like, it was how Huey got through the whole series. Kind of lucky, just things kind of worked out for him. Always had blood on his face or some type of stuff on his face. But outside of that, like he managed to get through these scenarios where you would say he's the underdog in general.
Exactly. So that's a quick one.
Yeah, so, all right, the We Have to Go Back award, one of my favorite titles for an award. Best cliffhanger or ending. What do you think of the season?
There were some cliffhangers during the season, you mean? Or I had something like from
episode? Yeah, like a cliffhanger that comes to mind. But in my mind, it was not for the finale, it was for the season. But, are there any like cliffhanger moments for you?
That I thought were really good. I think it was episode 3 or 4, after they released the virus with Soldier Boy and the rock guy, and then at the end of that season, Soldier Boy sat up in the bag, and you're like, holy shit, the virus didn't work on Soldier Boy. I thought that was a really good cliffhanger, and like, why did that happen? You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Okay, that one. And then I thought, besides the ending, Homelander getting the V1 was like an oh shit moment.
That's I already talked about that being an intense moment. I think that was the best cliffhanger ending for me because it was just unexpected. And again, the Butcher yell and run piece to me, because I think of like trying to run away from Homelander as a ridiculous thought. There's no real like running away from Homelander. So to me, that was a great ending.
So the V1, it doesn't make your powers more powerful. It just makes you not age and not die. what? But it not immortal in a sense that the uranium thing, like Soldier Boy's powers, would have worked. You know what I mean? Not like so. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it doesn't make you age, and it made you immune to the virus. There's two things we know for a fact.
Yep.
Other than that, it doesn't make you stronger. Because
I guess I hadn't really thought too much about it. I mean, it's the same powers that you have.
And it doesn't make you immune to uranium blast. That will take your powers away.
So,
you know,
last one, Prestige TV Award, and I think we're going to redo this one between now and next podcast. But classic, cult favorite, or trash? We don't do trash TV shows on this podcast, so I guess where do you put this?
It's probably a cult favorite. You know what I mean?
So.
Like, it's a classic. Is probably more like Stranger Things, to your chagrin, like Game of Thrones, like that Lost, that kind of stuff.
This is like the epitome of a cult favorite. I think of like this is like one of the.
Yeah, the boys.
What's that?
You change the name of it to like the boy. It's like it is a cult classic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's like by definition of that, just a smaller group of people that watch it. It's a unique kind of show with people with a unique taste, maybe a little bit crazy, but yeah, definitely a cult favorite for me, and I definitely look forward to where the franchise goes in general.
So it was The Boys season 5. Oh, it was 55 million viewers this season. It says. I'm trying to see if it finds out like. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people watched it. You know what I mean? But it's funny because I don't know that many people in our world that watches the show.
Matt Veer's the only other person I know.
Okay. Shout out to Veer.
Yeah, shout out to Veer if you're listening to this far of the podcast. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a ton of people are watching The Boys. But I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we did the podcast. It is definitely one of the shows that I would say has been like a top show for me since it came on Prime. And I'm bummed that it's gone, but I thought it was decent enough.
And it's a good time now. I don't know what your algorithm is. My whole algorithm right now is like old boys clips. And just kind of like forget like really how there's some like, man, awesome moments over the course of the last 7 years from the show.
That first season, dude, it got me, man. Like I really was like all in on it. I thought it was just like such like a different view of comic book heroes and what they could be on the bad side of things.
The plane scene is like one that like sticks with me and one I've watched a bunch of times. That was one where that was the like Homelander is a bad guy situation, and no other TV show ever did something like that.
Yeah, and it's evolved a little bit since then, but it's been a staple for me.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that we made it to this point where it's all done, and look forward to seeing where it goes from here.
Awesome.
So, what's up next for us, pal? We had a busy summer of things coming up. What do we got next?
We got Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm going to see it next Wednesday. Did you get your tickets yet?
I have to get it. I was looking at my calendar to see when I have to watch it by. We don't have the date that we're recording that podcast yet, do we?
Probably should do it the next couple weeks, 2 weeks, I'd say from now.
No, of course. But yeah, when we get off, we'll book something. Then I'll find my ticket so we're ready to go. But we'll do one of that, and then we have a slate of what, like 5 or 6 movies over the next few months to do. Actually, through the end of the year. So the summer might get busy for 3 or 4 movies, and then the rest will be at the end of the year in December. But you know what I heard was getting some good reviews. Masters of the Universe.
Really?
Really, because I thought the trailer sucked, and I love the old Masters of the Universe. Thought the trailer was awful, but I think the embargo for not reviews but like impressions or whatever has been lifted, so people that have seen it are able to like throw like one-liners out there on social media, and that it was actually like really good for what it was. So I don't know. We'll see when the reviews hit.
I love that universe. The 80s one, which I guess, look at reviews of it, people like absolutely bash that movie. I think that movie's incredible. I think Skeletor is talk about an all-time bad guy. Skeletor is an awesome bad guy. I'm happy to hear that. The number one thing where I wish we would do, which we won't because it's all just the timing of it, is this movie Obsession, which I've been talking to you about. I don't know if you've been seeing more buzz for this since I brought it up to you, but it's everywhere.
I just saw something about it broke a 17-year-old record or something like that, so I'm inching that way. We'll see. Maybe I'll go see it. We'll do a pod. It might not just be as timely by the time we record.
I'm bummed that I probably because next week would have been the week, and I'm going to see Mando next week. But like Obsession's just like it's on my top of my list for shows. I mean, for movies to see because it's getting such good reviews.
Keep me posted if you see it. But I'm starting to see stuff about it that's piquing my interest just a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
But you told me what the premise is before. I still don't remember that 100%.
The premise is a classic like monkey paw wish thing. Someone makes a wish for someone to fall in love with them. That person, the wish is granted, and then things go haywire. But this girl, Indy, whatever her name is, this actress is just like like getting all kinds of buzz.
Love it. So, all right, buddy. That was a lot of fun recording, and we'll be back in, a couple weeks.
All right, buddy. Sounds good.